Hey guys, let's talk about ball lightning, but this time with Temerity, and you'll see that you don't lose any DPS, you'll still hit like a truck, but you'll be way more tankier. I'll explain everything in that video, and big thanks to Himred who shared this build with me. So let's start with the skill, and you want to play Frost Nova in order to make enemies vulnerable and to also apply some chill, Flame Shield in order to be invulnerable, grant you some movement speed, but also to burn your enemies in order to enjoy the increased damage to burning enemies and damage reduction from burning enemies. After that you have Ice Armor and Unstable Currents as the ultimate. You also want, of course, the Ball Lightning, which will be very good with Unstable Currents. Lastly, you have Teleport in order to get some mobility. For the enchantments, you'll be playing Chain Lightning in order to make enemies vulnerable and get some mana with the Paragon. I'll give you more details on this a bit later on this video. And Frozen Orb in order to increase a bit your damage, but also apply some cold damage in order to have the Talrasha boost. For the gear and the helm, you can use one of the Uber Unique if you have it, first the Shaco or Andy's Face, and if you don't have one yet, go for the Godslayer Crown, which is very good. After that, for the armor, you want to have increased armor when you deal damage and shock skill damage, armor intelligence, and 1 resistance if you don't have the cap for your resistances. Make sure to be at this value in order to be very tanky. You can also think about the Raiment of the Infinite if you prefer, but after, if you have a good armor, this one will be a bit better. For the gloves, you want increased damage to enemies vulnerable when you have a barrier, intelligence, attack speed, critical strike chance, and lightning critical strike damage. For the pants, Temerity, which is mandatory in this build, it will allow you to be very tanky. And for the boots, intelligence, movement speed, mana cost reduction, and for the aspect, movement speed when you don't take damage. The thing is that since you are always under a barrier, you'll always enjoy this boost. For your weapon, you want increased damage when you have a barrier, intelligence, mastery skill damage, damage to closed enemies, and damage to burning enemies. Make sure also to get a dagger in order to have increased damage to close enemies. For the offhand, you want to have intelligence, critical strike chance, mana cost reduction, and the buff to your lightning damage during the cycle. After that, you have mana generation when you don't take damage. Also, same thing for the bots, you'll enjoy this boost always because you'll always be under a barrier. You want critical strike chance, damage to close enemies, and a resource. Of course, you'll be playing Talrasha, make sure to have the best possible damage on the aspect, and for the amulet, Ball Lightning, increase damage and orbits around you. You'll also want on it armor, damage reduction, mana cost, and ranks 2 mastery. You can also think about these boots if you want, in order to have some cooldown reduction on your ultimate with Flicker Step, and a bit more critical strike chance and damage, critical strike damage with Ace's Heirloom. You lose a bit of movement speed, so the gameplay will be slower, but you can think about this once if you want. For the gems, you'll want rubies for the life, increase damage to vulnerable enemies, and the gems in order for you to have enough resistances at these values. For the Vampiric Power, you'll want Prey on the Weak to increase your damage to vulnerable enemies, Ravenous to increase your attack speed based on your movement speed, Undying, which will always grant you barrier with Temerity, Anticipation to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate, and Metamorphosis to be unstoppable. If you want to have more damage, even if you already have plenty of damage, you can also swap one of these power in order to play Infection to have the boost from Talrasha. For the skill tree, just put 2 points anywhere in order to unlock this. You want to have the Frozen Orb and increase damage, 3 points for the Elemental Dominance, and if you don't have Shaco, make sure to put 1 point in order to play the enchantments. After that, we have Flame Shield with the healing and Teleport with the damage reduction. You have Ice Armor with increased mana and Frost Nova with the vulnerable. You also want 3 points in Glass Cannon, 1 or 2 points in Elemental Attunement, 3 points in the Lucky Hit, and 3 points in the damage reduction. A bit below, you have 5 points in Ball Lightning with the fact that you'll spawn some crackling energy and take these points, chance to have crackling energies and mana when you take a crackling energy. Again, a bit below, 3 points to increase your damage to chill enemies and 1 point in the ultimate with this associated passive. Finally, you have 3 points to reduce the damage here and 3 points to have a chance to stun your enemies. Lastly, we'll be taking Vir's Mastery as our K passive. For the Paragon, you want this glyph increasing your non-physical damage, and it will also grant you 5% maximum resistances. That's why we have 75 to lightning and cold resistances. And after that, we get this node, which will make enemies vulnerable hit by chain lightning and also grant you some mana. So it's important, that's why we play this node with this enchantment. And after that, we get this glyph, which is just here, increasing mastery damage. On your left, you have this glyph increasing damage to close enemies and some damage reduction. We won't be taking this node, and at the top of it, this glyph increasing damage while healthy. It's this Paragon board, and we won't take it. And finally, at the right, we have this glyph increasing critical strike damage. You can also take this node, which will increase your damage to burning enemies. This is this Paragon board, Burning Instinct, and of course, we won't take this node. I'll let you enjoy the gameplay, and even if it's written in French, you can see that we have a 40% debuff of lightning damage. You'll also see that it will be quite easy to do these T100 Nightmare dungeons, and that we are ready for Abattoir of Zir. Thanks for watching this video, and if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, and big thanks for that.
Beaucoup de mana. J'ai besoin de temps.